Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Michael, aka Rickshaw, and you're nerding out with Rickshaw. And you're also nerding out with.
It is I, producer Toby Von Doom.
Me and Toby are here today talking about some nerdy stuff, and we just so happen to have both seen Spider Man Across the Spider Verse. And boy, was it fire. I know that a lot of people are talking about it. It's breaking a lot of records. I think it like quadrupled its opening
Nice.
weekend.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure it made all of the money so far
It made
as
all
it's
the
like
money.
I think it made all of the like its whole theater run for the first movie. I think it's already hit that
Wow.
for the sequel. Yeah, it's doing a lot of crazy stuff, and it's a big win for animation, and it's a big win for comic book movies in general because a lot of people. I know a lot of people that are like animated movie though, and they just kind of like don't prioritize or put it on the same level as a live action movie. And I know a lot of people that have seen both of these movies, and they're just like they wouldn't even think any different. You know what I mean? Afterwards, after watching both of them, they would definitely put them on the same level and be just excited about both.
Yeah.
Um, and also comic book movies in general. There's been a lot of things talking about comic book fatigue, and everyone's getting wore out with comic book movies, and like I don't really think that necessarily is true if everything we get is really good. So I think that we've had a little lull when it comes to DC for sure. Marvel has been kind of putting out little, it's because Marvel set their own standards, and the standards were very high for a long
Very
time.
high, yeah. Too
So
high.
yeah, so whenever they are trying to create stuff in a post Endgame world, they just aren't hitting the marks. I've still enjoyed a lot of stuff, but you could tell the difference between whenever a banger comes out versus everyone being like, it was okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think, comic book fatigue is a real thing as long as it's a quality movie. So what do you think?
Well, I think I understand the comic book movie fatigue. Just because they're doing exactly what the comics do. They're doing so many crossovers to where, oh, you can't. So my dad does not give a crap about superhero movies at all. He likes
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool. That's the only one he likes.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool 3 is going to it's going to suck in some of the old X-Men stuff is what the rumors are, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to like it, but he likes the first two. Uh and I keep telling him I know for a fact he would love the first Guardians movie, right? Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's quippy, it's funny, there's a lot of good humor in it, but I don't think he could watch number 3 because number so you can watch 1 and 2, but then there's this gap in the storyline, which they fill it in decently in the third movie. But you have to go watch all the end game, and you have to watch you have to watch all that to understand what's the deal with Gamora now. So I think there's too much crossover now,
Yeah.
which it's just like the comics. That's how the comics work. That's how they get you to read. Uh, oh, you what there would be something that happened in X Men, but Spider Man uh, was with the X Men for like an issue, and he would reference it in the Spider Man comics, and it would be like, see what Spider Man's talking about in issue this or that,
Mm-hmm.
Excelsior,
Yeah.
and then you'd have to be like, well, now I got to go read and see what happened. So
Yeah.
that's happening a lot with the movies, is what I'm saying, and with all the shows and stuff. I think that's where the real fatigue is of like, God, now I have to watch this because there's two scenes that I need to understand for this
Right.
one full movie and series. Like you can't just watch The Guardians anymore without detouring. Does that make sense?
I know what you mean. It is pushed into hardcore mode. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah, like
Like you can't just be the casual watcher and just jump on board of anything anymore without missing something, you know. So
And that's what was so great about the original, like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Like you could just watch those, the titled movie and watch all of them and be like, I got the whole story. And
yeah.
then Avengers, everyone like combines for a minute, and there's not like big stakes that really carry over.
Well, and that is a valid point you're making, but like it's like that with comic books too.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you can't, if you want to get into comic books, there's always going to be something that you're missing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you could jump on and pick things up and get into the story of what the title you're reading, but they're always going to talk about something that you have not, soaked in unless you were a follower back in the day. And then there's always going to be a story thread that will appear that has been something from an old comic that they've teased that eventually will happen. So
Well,
it's yeah.
it's marketing, like, and it's really smart marketing, because I can't tell you how many just like random issues of series that I wasn't reading that I had to buy. Like if I was reading something in Batman, but I had to buy a couple issues of Teen Titans because there's something that connects directly to the story that I'm reading. So then you have to buy. It's a very smart marketing tool. But I
Mhm.
think that's where the major fatigue is, though, right now. Like, because look, I understand how it works, and I'm like, gotta watch. Like, I haven't watched any of the new Hawkeye stuff, and now I'm like, shit. Is that gonna? Am I gonna need to know something that happened in Hawkeye for something that's coming up? So, like, do I need to go watch it now? So it's just one of those things of like, what do I need to watch so I'm not like, if you didn't watch WandaVision, Doctor Strange made no sense.
Mhm.
And that's a whole series you have to watch just to enjoy Doctor Strange.
I mean, but it's the type of thing where like I don't think they're worried about that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like listen, if Corn can put out a new record and it could be absolute shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're worried about like it's just like every form of media gets to a certain point in its career and it's so mainstream that like they don't care anymore. They're only thinking moving forward, you know what I mean? So they're like join on in if you want, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, and
so
see, I think that's what's also great about these new Miles Morales Spider-Man movies, is that they're not interwoven yet.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yet.
mean yeah, I
I
mean
think they're about to get interwoven in the next one, but we'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk more about our thoughts and theories here in a minute. But I do. I think that's why these are so easy to, and I think that's why people can really. It feels like going back to the beginning of the MCU, like, because it's like a self-contained story, and you don't have to know a bunch of extra stuff because it gives you everything. It gives you all the new characters you're meeting. Like in this one, you meet, Spider-Man 2099. You meet who are some of the other like big players? Oh, Spider-Punk, or Punk Spider-Man,
oh,
whatever his name is.
Spider-Punk was good. Yeah, I liked
Yeah.
Spider-Punk.
So like they're giving you don't have to know these from anything, but if you do know these from like other shows or comics, you're like, yes, those are Easter eggs for me. You know.
Mhm.
So I think that's why these are doing so well too, is because you don't have to have a big bunch of backstory to get them.
Yeah, so Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse in its first weekend made 120.5 million dollars.
Nice,
It is the second best uh opening weekend of any movie this year. The
nice.
top the top 2 movies that have grossed the most money are both animated films.
What was the other one?
So Mario,
Oh,
Super
that's right.
Mario
Of course,
Brothers.
that
Yes.
was a dumb question.
Yeah, so and this one even beat out Guardians. I think Guardians is
Wow. See,
yeah.
but that's where I feel like you got to know all the backstory for Guardians. This is one of those things. You can just go in and be like, hey, I watched the first one. Now I can watch the second one.
Yeah. I mean, it's the type of thing where like I don't know. I feel like people are more susceptible to just see anything that has been told to them that is like one of the best movies ever. Like that's where the fatigue doesn't matter because I know a lot of people that haven't seen the first part of this one that probably saw this one because of how many people are freaking out about it right now. So, you know what I mean? Like
Okay, that's fair.
and and like if you watch the movie, the part of the plot that really matters, they catch you up on as it develops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, let's see here. What else? How much did I say? 120,
Yeah, 125, I thought you said million.
120.5.
0.5. Okay.
Let's see. What was the other one called? Into?
Into the Spider Verse, I think. And I feel like this animation. I think the first one could have been jarring because the animation was a different style than we had been, used to. Which I feel like because this one is doing so well, I think it's going to be a shoe in for the next Turtles movie to be, to top some box office stuff. Just because everyone's like, yeah, we've seen this animation, this is fine, or something similar. I'm not saying it's the exact same, but it's very similar. So
Mm-hmm.
we may have another like big movie with no backstory or anything like that. You can just be like, hell yeah, Turtles.
Let's see here. It's still. Oh, well, my Google is dumb, and it's still telling me across the Spider Verse because. Oh, okay. Let's hear it. No, because Google is still telling me wrong, even though I typed the right thing in. Come on, AI. Let's see here. Into the Spider Verse, first weekend was 35 million.
Oh wow,
So
Jesus!
35 million, and then its sequel 120.5
So
million.
they almost
So
like quadrupled their first week.
yeah, yeah. So
Incredible.
yeah, they're killing it over there. And and it's funny because this was a film that they let them run wild with it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the one film that Sony wasn't putting their greedy little paws in and just said, "Do your own thing." This is, it's animated. It's going to be unconnected. Do your thing. And guess what? They're best.
I think I
So,
think it's about to be really connected though. I have a
yeah, I mean they definitely hint at a lot of stuff, but who knows how connected it could get, you know.
Now, should
I
we should we go ahead and say that we may be spoiler ish?
Yeah, let's go into spoilers with this thing.
It's we're gonna be spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, hey, hit the like and tell us you're gonna go see it this weekend or something.
Yeah, let's talk about it because everyone I know, it seems like it wasn't a priority because, it's an animated movie. That's a lot of people I know. But at the same time, I thought after the success of the first one and it becoming like a cult classic immediately, I thought that it was going to change things because I assumed that after the first one did so well, then Sony would try to take over on all of its creative properties and stuff. But apparently, they just left it up to the team to just do it again, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It made me sweat just watching it. So that's why I was unhyped the whole time until the week of, and then loved it. Want to see it again. Watched the first one already, just to catch myself up on that.
Me and the kid did too. We rewatched the first one, and then
Yeah,
the next day we went and saw the new one.
yeah.
So since we're already in our spoiler territory, my kid was so upset at that ending that said to be continued that it ruined his time. It completely ruined his night. We were driving home from the movie theater and I was wanting to talk about it because I was so excited about everything. I was like, oh, what about this? What about that? Like, I was the kid in the situation and he was the grown up, like, shut up. He was so upset about the to be continued. And then like the next day, like he didn't want to talk about it. He just did not want to talk about the movie. The next day when we got up and we were eating breakfast and stuff, he was like, "Man, that movie was good." And then he just started talking about it. Like it had to sink in because he was so pissed that there's just such a big cliffhanger. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like
It's not even okay. So like everyone's been talking about how it's a cliffhanger, but it's not really a cliffhanger. Like I think that everyone, because everyone didn't know that there's a third one, which they announced.
yeah,
They announced when this movie was announced. Maybe it was the second trailer that came out. It was announced part one, Across the Spider Verse part one,
yeah,
and then Beyond the Spider Verse is part two of this
right, right, right.
particular installment. And so I know a lot of people that were, let's talk about cliffhanger, because I don't think it's a huge
Oh
cliffhanger. It
bullshit! Go ahead. I want to hear this.
a cliffhanger to me is like, you know, someone picks you up, drops you off the roof, and then it says to be continued, right? We got mostly like a wrap up of this. We got a wrap up of like he got away. Now we think he's in his universe, and then she assembles a team to go find him. So it's
Right.
not like a huge cliffhanger,
The
but
Prowler has him tied up. And then you see that the Prowler is not the Prowler. You find out who the Prowler is in this universe. It made me. I literally sat there with my jaw open, like, oh shit, because there's a lot of times I can suss out like what's about to happen, like this is, you can see this ending from a mile away. This one just like, it cheap shotted me, it like fucking hit me from behind, and I was just like, whoa, I did not expect
well,
any
okay.
of that.
So whenever we first, as kids, the first time you watched Empire Strike Backs, whenever that movie ended, were you like, holy shit, that was a cliffhanger like crazy?
No, no.
Because Han Solo literally got frozen in carbonite and taken away.
Okay, that's fair.
The movie itself cleared up a lot of stuff and ended on that certain note where everyone knows what they need to do next, right? But I more so grew up with like Goosebumps books where every page was a cliffhanger or
Yeah.
every chapter was a cliff. It's like cliffhanger to me is like, and he went to open the door, and when the door swung open, you
Right.
wouldn't believe what's next.
Okay,
And
so
then
if they
it's like,
wouldn't have showed who the Prowler is, you think that would have been the bigger cliffhanger?
yeah, that would be the definition of cliffhanger, is like leaving, just being like, you're gonna have to wonder. I get that
It's
we are
you?
wondering.
You're the Prowler? That's what
Yeah,
that's what you
yeah,
wanted. I
yeah,
like this kind of cliffhanger where it's like blows my mind and I'm like, "Oh my god, I need the next one now." Like that's
yeah.
I need, like, if I was binging this, if this was a TV show and that was the last part of the episode and I had one more episode, I couldn't help myself. I'd have to watch the next episode. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what a cliffhanger is, something that like you're just like, "Oh shit, I have to watch it." But if like you're saying, "Oh, it wrapped up."
I mean, it wrapped up a lot of shit.
It wrapped up, but it still left me like, "Fuck, I need to see what's going to happen." It really got me
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously we're doing spoilers right now, and
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like the type of thing too where like I don't like the way that this movie started. You don't 100% need the first one. I feel like
Yeah,
this
you're right.
one, like you could pick up the context clues of what might have happened in the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like but obviously I person like me would obviously want to check out the first one immediately if I'd never seen it. Uh but what do you think about Gwen's story in this one?
I like it. Like I like
Like I feel like Gwen got the most screen time in
yes.
this one, so like the whole intro after the intro of the movie, which was like all Gwen, I was like, dude, this is gonna be so sick.
Yeah,
Like,
she does. She has like the first like 10 minutes of is an intro of just Gwen and what's
mhm,
going on with her, what has been going on with her,
mhm.
and man,
And her color palette in her world
yeah,
is
yeah,
like, yeah,
that's
like,
that is something that's just a nice touch. Like each world has like a feel to it. You
mhm,
know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like, oh yeah, it looks exactly the same. Like you do feel like you're in a different place. So that way when you get back to Miles, the R Miles world, it's like, oh, okay, so this is the real world. You know, like it's not,
mhm,
it doesn't look like an oil painting or anything like
mm,
that. So I love the different styles of all the characters, like especially when you get into the cathedral thing with all the Spider-Men, and they all look like, some are like in black and white and some look like really cartoony. Some are like the bad 90s MTV or 2000s MTV 3D rendered Spider-Man. Did you
yeah.
Okay, I got to ask this. What was some of your favorite Easter eggs? Like that was one of
So,
mine.
I mean, I love Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
So I thought it was super sick. It's funny how I even hear people complaining about that. But they're like complaining about how they're talking shit about 90s comics whenever they were talking about Scarlet Spider, and I'm like, who cares? It's fun. Like,
It's just
and
how it was. That was the
yeah.
style then, and I feel like they captured a lot of that, and I thought that was great. Like I
Mhm.
look at the wall, I look at the other wall, like and just like over explaining things, and it
Yeah.
was part of the comics, and like the what I'm talking about is they had that MTV Spider-Man show, and
Mhm.
it was like PlayStation 2 style graphics for the entire show. And that Peter
Yeah.
Parker was so whiny, but I liked that show. I used to love it. And they made him like super emotional in that one scene where he's like, "I just don't know," or whatever he's talking about. And it's so funny. Like there's so many little things like that.
I also like what's some other Spider-Man? Some Spider-Man were just like they made an action figure of like that big Hulk looking Spider-Man with like a bunch of cyborg stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, why even he didn't even say anything in that movie. He was noticeable, but like why did he get an action figure?
It makes me wonder if maybe he's gonna play a bigger role in the next movie. Like, you know, there's certain characters I feel like they kept showing in the background and showing like they want you to remember these like big figures, you know.
Mhm.
Uh there the T-Rex Spider-Man, like there was so many
Mhm.
just goofy great ones. The cat Spider-Man, the Spider
Mm.
Cat, whatever, it
Yeah,
shoots
yeah.
web out of its mouth.
Yeah.
So good. Uh
Yeah. I so obviously Spider-Man 2099 was really cool. Eventually he was kind of a dick. Do you think anything with him is going super weird? Do you think that he will be sort of involved in the plot like in the third one to where maybe he's lying? Do you think he's being completely honest?
I do think he's being honest. I think he's one of those like he's got good intentions because like so the whole plot of the movie is basically what you end up finding out in the third act of the movie. Like it's finishing up and that's when you really
Mm,
get hit with what's really happening, which is way cool because it's like where's this going?
mm,
Why are all these Spider-Men together? Where he fully believes that every Spider-Man has to have a tragedy to become Spider-Man, right?
hmm.
He
Right.
fully believes that. What he's not understanding is that Miles a Spider is not from his universe.
Hmm.
So he doesn't I don't think Miles okay, this is my theory. Here's my theory already. I don't think Miles needs to have tragedy since he was never supposed to be Spider-Man in that universe, right?
Mm, okay.
I think the because I do think that a Spider-Man character does need tragedy. I think Miles' tragedy is Peter's death. I don't think it has to be his dad
Well,
or
it was also Aaron,
yeah, his uncle.
Uncle Aaron. Yeah,
So I think we've already gotten his tragedy, but I think 2099 Spider-Man, what's his name? Miguel?
yeah.
I think Miguel doesn't realize that. I think I
Well,
think
all of these are supposed to be tracked. They're supposed to already be predetermined through the technology he's using, right?
see that was my only like how did you get this technology? Where does all
I don't
this
know.
come? Like
But remember, he saves the Indian Spider-Man's girlfriend's dad, and that was the event that they all knew was supposed to take place.
right.
And then Gwen tried to stop him from saving them, which ultimately caused that universe to start having an incursion.
Right.
So so they somehow through 2099 technology already see the things that are going to happen, and now they see that his dad is going to die or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. It in a way it's convoluted. They lay it out pretty fucking easy for
Yeah.
you during the movie. But I think it's fun to watch how even the spider was glitching. We didn't realize it whenever we watched the first one, when it first came out. But the
Did it?
spider was, yes, the
Holy
spider,
shit. I need to go
yeah,
back and watch the first one now
yeah,
and see like the seeds that they planted because that's
yeah,
freaking incredible.
yeah. The spider that bit Miles was glitching. Like there's several scenes in the opening of that movie where the spider is walking and then it's like glitch, and then it
Whoa.
keeps
You just
going.
blew my mind
Yeah.
with that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So, I don't know. What about Donald Glover?
Ah, that was great. That was a great little cameo. Loved it.
I
Freaking
mean,
loved it.
there's only a few things, you say that you think they were going to get mixed even more. And that's, kind of one of the things is like they showed us Toby. Or did they show us Toby?
Yeah, they showed us Toby and
Okay. They
Andrew
Toby.
Garfield.
Yeah, they showed us Toby and they showed us Andrew Garfield and they showed us the Prowler, Donald Glover, which, if anybody knows this, in Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, Tom Holland Spider-Man comes across a guy named Aaron, and he says that he has a nephew that lives around there. That's hinting at a live action Miles Morales, and and he showed up in this movie as the Prowler. So does this mean that he will return as the Prowler in a Miles Morales live action movie?
I hope so. I think there's a reason we didn't see Tom Holland Spider Man, and I think we're gonna see him in the third one, or in the
Oh, you
in the next Miles Morales movie.
well,
That's my
I,
theory. That's
yeah. Well, and also, Tom Holland is like apparently blowing this movie up too. He said it's like one of the best movies he's ever seen, and they just announced that they are working on a Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland, but because of the writer's strike, they have put it on hold. And they have announced a live-action Miles Morales movie that they're going to go into pre-production on starting after the writer's strike
well, I
also.
mean, look,
So,
they make $130,000 or $130 million. Yeah, yeah. You go ahead and fire away with this live action version too. That'd be awesome.
yeah, there's just Spider-Man is the Spider-Man's already the most popular character in all of the world, especially when you look at merch sales. Everybody knows who Spider-Man is. Every
Mhm.
person, you just put his face on a shirt and everybody knows who that is. So
With the Easter eggs, I can't believe we didn't see Japanese Spider Man. The
that's what I was thinking too. Spider-Man.
Yeah, Well, which that's the one that like maybe they're just like yeah that didn't exist at all. But I was really
Well,
kind of bummed out we didn't see
yeah,
something.
they they might not have the rights, to
Oh,
it, or
that's
I
fair.
don't know, like, because it's like I know we've seen him in some comic books, but I think that putting a character in a comic book versus a movie might be a lot of different legal things that you
Yeah.
have to do to get him in there. Um, but yeah, like I said, Scarlet Spider, one of my favorite. We even saw PlayStation 4. Spider-Man.
That was another thing Gibson was mad about. He's like, I
Yeah.
wanted more PlayStation Spider-Man. I was like, what are you gonna do, dude?
What he said? What about it?
He wanted more of the PlayStation Spider-Man. He's like, I thought there would be more of that one. It's like, well,
I mean, we're about to play a new game
I
with
know you're
that
about
in
to get a whole nother
it.
game.
Yeah.
Which I just started the Miles Morales game the other day. I didn't realize I actually had it on PS5
Oh,
because it was a free. I think it was a free game one month, and it was in my library, and so I started
yeah.
playing it the other day.
Yeah. There's rumors though that Miguel is maybe secretly not who he thinks he is or who he says he is because he injected himself with some stuff at one point. Apparently, in the comic, he worked for Alchemex and he did an experiment on himself, which gave him 50% DNA of a spider.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, what does that mean when he injects himself? Does that mean also someone? There's a rumor that he is actually a different character, and he is hiding as Spider-Man 2099. And this character is a vampire that feeds on people's energy, and he is tricking all the Spider-Men because he wants to consume some of them, like slowly as
What if
time
it's
goes
like
on.
he feeds on their sadness, and that's why he wants all their uncles and dads to die?
Yeah, he's just Morbius. He's
Yeah.
secretly Morbius. He's Jared Leto.
Oh no.
It all connects.
No, we don't want that connection. Jesus.
But yeah, I really liked Spider-Man 2099, but there's one gripe I have. The original suit to me is so much cooler than like the one with all the small details and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even if you watch the first Into the Spider-Verse movie and you watch the very end post-credit scene, that is the original Spider-Man 2099 suit that they use, and
Yeah.
it looks so cool. And then they did a redesign on the one that we saw in this movie, and it's like it's still cool. It's subtly different,
Yeah.
but in comic book art, sometimes the most plain version of the suit is the coolest one.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I did like them making fun of Miles. Are you bleeding from your armpits? The whole
yeah,
everyone just kept giving him shit. You bleeding from your armpits?
uh, Peter B. Parker is the best Spider-Man.
So goddamn good. The goddamn baby and the little knitted like beanie hat thing that she pulls over her eyes. God damn it! It made me want a baby just so I can.
Made me want a
It
baby.
made me want a baby. Ladies, you want to have a baby just so we can have a little knitted Spider-Man mask? Hit me up. No, it was he is so funny. I want side story movies now where it's just a movie like one of his adventures, or
Mhm.
I don't know. There's I
Yeah.
I did like the tease that we're getting the team from the first movie back for the
Hmm.
third movie. I think that's great. So we'll get Nor, Spider Ham. Who else was in that team?
Noir.
Yeah,
Nicolas Cage noir. uh, I think also, one thing that's probably gonna happen. I'm gonna think that we're getting delays. We're getting delays on the next movie. I don't think it's gonna come out in March of next year. I think it's gonna get pushed back because apparently, uh, Haley Stansfield, who plays Gwen, she said that she had done vocals for this movie for 4 years, and then when asked about the next one, she's like, "Well, I hope we get to work soon because I haven't done any of the voice acting for it yet."
wow.
So I think that it might get delayed unless they're working their asses off right now already. So
Well, I think when the money bags start getting driven to Marvel headquarters or MCU headquarters, they're gonna be like, yeah, let's go. And Sony, I guess Sony's the one behind this one, huh?
yeah,
They'll I think this one will be a much sped up process because they're going to want to cash in as soon as possible. You know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I would much rather get delays than see a rushed product.
Me too. Oh, for
I
sure.
th- I think that's the main problem is the consumer nowadays wants it too badly, and it's just like you even said your kid was like so upset,
So mad,
and
dude.
it's like one of those things where like uh, I remember being upset about things like that, but guess what? I come from a time where you don't even know a movie is coming out until you saw the trailer.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't have like leaks and spoilers and shit like
uh,
that.
yeah, I remember even whenever I was in high school, I worked at a movie theater and we had a magazine that would be sent to our theater and it would tell you things that have been greenlit for production and we would still overlook so many things and just be like a trailer for a movie would pop on and you'd be like, "What is this? Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's happening." So I just really hate the fact that we rush everything out and video games, movies, TV shows, and it's all because the company wants the money as fast as they can get it, and it's all because the consumer wants doesn't want to wait for it. I don't want to wait for it. I don't want to leave my house to get it. I want it in my eyes right now. And that is just so stupid for me. It makes risk and reward for people nothing these days because everyone just wants it now, doesn't want to wait for it. Like there is no there is no consequence for getting something super. Well, there is. That's what I'm trying to say. Actually, there is a consequence for getting that shit, and it's a terrible product
Yeah.
eventually. So
Hey, these people are the same people that didn't actually read comics where you had to wait like some issues only came out once a month or something like that, you know?
yeah.
That's brutal. That's a
Hmm.
real brutal wait, just waiting once a month for, 20 some odd pages of like a big overarching story, you know? So, yeah, hey, look, the TikToks, the YouTubes, it gives everyone everything all at once. Netflix dropping an entire series.
Yeah.
We're just accustomed to it now. Like it's just how it is. I think
Mm,
they're
I
trying. They're
Well,
trying to.
yeah, they're going back on that,
Yeah, they're
but
pulling
because
back because they realize, with like Disney putting out everything like one episode at a time. I mean, hell, we saw it with the last Stranger Things. They were like, here's some of it, but you bitches are gonna subscribe to us next month too, because here's the other half in the next month.
yeah, well,
So
that's the thing too that it shows us. It is like we get some of this cool stuff from Netflix and they drop it all at once, but no one's talking about that shit like 2 months later.
right,
Everyone's already done. Everyone's already forgotten about it, and all of these shows that come out week to week, people are talking about for like 6 months straight
yeah.
because they're just like, oh my god, this is happening right now. Next week comes, oh my god, this is happening right now. And then some of those people would rather wait till it's all out and
To
binge it.
yeah.
So you have like essentially two or three different groups of people talking about the stuff opposed to dropping it all on Netflix at midnight. Someone like me watching all of it on accident on the first night.
On
And
accident. You have no
yeah.
self control, Mike.
and then like 3 weeks from now, people are like, "Yo, what about this episode?" And I'm like, "I don't remember that because I watched it all on
It's
in one setting." So
it was all one solid episode. It may have been
yeah,
24 episodes, but it's one solid one to me.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, what did you think at well, what did you think of Spider-Man? Did Was it better than the first one? I had a friend say it wasn't better than the first one because they didn't like how unsatisfying it ended.
Did you
So, and
disown
that's
them as a friend? I almost disowned my kid for a little while.
I was just like, dude, get over it, man. Like when you have that's what part one and part two means. It means you're gonna have to wait for the next one to find out what happens in the overall story. So I don't know. It's just It's just crazy that we have people that act like that.
That aren't
So
13.
yeah, that are grown ups. So,
Grow up.
but yeah, they. I mean, if you're from the era where you already had the internet, you expect everything real fast. So
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, you don't even. They don't even have to wait for a game. If a game comes out at midnight, they don't have to wait till the next day. They just go on their PlayStation and download it. I
Yeah.
remember, like with us, if they weren't having a midnight release for something, you just had to wait till the next day.
That sucked. And it sucked.
Yeah.
Hell, sometimes we'd get new movies from, Blockbuster, and we'd have to rewind them ourselves just to add that much more time to seeing a new movie. You'd be like,
Yeah.
motherfucker!
Yeah, the credits are rolling. You're like, shit.
No!
Or it's just like the very last like part of the movie, and you're like, what did I just see? No.
No! No! I'd have been pissed if I'd have
Yeah.
just seen the last part of this movie and then been like, no! No! Rewind it! Like they accidentally skipped ahead.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think they're doing great. I think everything that they're doing is great. Even making us wait for another one is great to me. I think that it builds more anticipation and it lets the movie breathe for a little bit
Yeah.
and achieve its own things. So,
Yep. And then we'll want to rebuy it so we can watch one, two, and then see the third one in theaters. So they'll make more money. More
dude,
monies.
I definitely would have sat in that theater for another 2 hours though,
Me
just to
too.
see the next one.
I would have too.
But yeah, guys, if you have any theories, put them in the comments. If you have anything you want to say, if you hated it, we'd love to hear about it from
I
you because I'm hearing that I've had some casual people that don't like anything say it's one
I
of the
thought you were
best
gonna say I
movies
had
they've.
some casualties. Had some casualties telling me they didn't like it.
Yeah, I had some casual people that say they just don't really watch movies be like, yeah, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. So, you know, animation, it's winning this year. So
Yeah.
not just for kids anymore. But all right. Well, also if you have any comments, suggestions, things you want us to cover, hit us up at nerdingoutwithrickshaw@gmail.com. Like and subscribe. Tell your mom about us. And we'll see you later, Toby.
Later, Rickshaw.
And we'll see you later, nerds.